Welcome to another deep dive. Today we'll be exploring the world of guitars.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be taking all our info from the Wikipedia article, Guitar.
Okay.
You know, guitars, they're everywhere, right?
Well, yeah, for sure.
Every genre, every culture, they kind of transcend music, don't you think?
I think so, yeah. It's more than just an instrument.
Yeah, and today we're going to uncover some pretty surprising stuff.
Okay.
Like, did you know there's evidence of guitar-like instruments from, like, ancient civilizations?
Yeah, thousands of years ago.
See? That's what I'm talking about, stuff you just wouldn't expect.
Right.
So I've always thought of guitars as like descendants of the lute. Those medieval things, big round body.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
accurate at all?
Oh, it's a common thought, but the guitar's history it's a lot more complicated. Lutes played a part, for sure, but there are instruments from ancient civilizations.
Really?
Like the Hittites, the Babylonians, they had instruments that really resemble guitars.
We're talking like BC ancient.
Oh, yeah. And there's even debate among scholars about whether European instruments or, quote, Oriental lutes had more of an impact on how the guitar developed.
Huh. So it's like a big historical music mystery.
Kind of, yeah.
And even the word guitar itself, that has an interesting history, why?
Oh, definitely.
Something about ancient Greece.
Yeah, it comes from the Greek word kithara.
Kithara.
Yep.
And I think I even remember reading that it appears in the Bible.
It does, yeah. Although they translate it as harp.
Huh, interesting.
So, yeah, guitar's been around for a long time.
That's pretty wild. From ancient Greece to the Bible to, well, everywhere today.
Yeah, all over the place.
And speaking of all over the place, let's dive into the different types of guitars you can find.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I know the basics, like acoustic versus electric,
Right.
but there's got to be more to it than that.
Oh, there's a ton of variety.
All right, so lay it on me. What kind of guitars are we talking about?
Well, let's start with acoustics.
Okay.
There's the classical guitar,
Yeah.
known for its nylon strings.
And that delicate finger picking style,
Yeah.
you hear those a lot in classical music, flamenco,
Mm-hmm.
even some folk and jazz.
Yeah, they always sound so elegant,
Yeah.
almost like intimidatingly complex.
Uh-huh. Well, they do take some serious skill.
Right.
But then you've got steel string acoustics,
Ah.
the workhorses of the guitar world.
For sure.
They're used in so many genres, folk, country, blues, rock, pretty much anything you can think of.
Yeah, those are the ones with that bright ringing tone.
Exactly. And they project really well without needing amplification.
Right. Perfect for like singing around a campfire or something.
Exactly.
Oh, and we can't forget the dreadnought.
Yeah, the classic.
Big, bold, ready to strum.
That's the one.
And then there are archtop guitars.
Oh, yeah.
Those always look so cool, like almost violin-like.
That's the idea, yeah.
With those fest-shaped sound holes.
Yep.
And they usually have that warm, mellow sound.
Often associated with jazz.
Yeah.
All right. Whenever I see an archtop, I just think of like old jazz clubs,
Makes sense.
all smoky and, yeah, jazzy.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we've got classical, steel string, archtop.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
Well, if we're talking cool looks, we can't forget resonator guitars.
Oh, yeah.
Those are the ones with the aluminum cones built into the body.
Yeah. They have that like metallic sound, almost otherworldly.
Exactly. A very distinctive sound.
Lots of twang, right?
A lot of twang. Yeah, very popular in blues music.
Right, right.
And speaking of blues, we've got the steel guitar,
Oh, yeah.
played horizontally with the slide.
Right.
It's known for that, like, crying sound.
Yes, so evocative.
It adds a whole other dimension to blues, country, even Hawaiian music.
Huh. I didn't know about the Hawaiian connection.
Yeah, it's got a long history there.
Interesting.
And then we have the 12-string guitar.
Ah, yeah, like a standard acoustic, but with double the strings.
Exactly. So you get double the richness and fullness.
They're like the choir of the guitar world.
Haha, I like that.
All those beautiful octave harmonies.
Yeah, they're great for adding depth.
You hear them in a lot of folk music, rock, even some pop music.
Right.
And I know we've got the acoustic bass guitar, too.
Can't forget the bass.
It might not be as flashy as its electric cousin, but it holds down the low end.
Absolutely essential.
Okay, so that's a pretty good overview of the acoustic side of things.
Yeah, we hit the main ones.
But now I'm ready to plug in and get loud.
All right, let's talk electrics.
Hit me with it.
Well, electric guitars, they changed music.
Oh, for sure.
They opened up a whole new world of sound, of playing styles.
Right.
And the key innovation, the thing that makes them electric, is the pickup.
The pickup.
Yeah, it's this little electromagnetic device.
Okay.
It takes the string vibrations and converts them into electrical signals.
So it's like Magic.
Haha, well, it's science, but it feels like magic.
Right.
And then that electrical signal, that's what gets amplified. That's what gives you that huge rock concert sound.
Oh, it's
And pickups themselves, they come in a lot of varieties.
like what?
Well, you've got single coil pickups.
Yes.
Those are known for their bright, twangy sound.
Yeah.
Think Fender Stratocasters.
Gotcha.
And then there's humbuckers.
Uh-huh.
They have a thicker, heavier tone,
Okay.
like a Gibson Les Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you have the solid body electric guitar itself.
Ah, right.
That was a revolution for rock music.
Yeah.
No more worrying about feedback, just pure power.
Yeah, like the tanks of the guitar world.
Exactly.
Just raw energy.
And then you've got 7-string and 8-string guitars.
More strings, more power.
That's the idea, yeah.
Those are popular with metal, right?
Yeah, for that extended range and heavier sound.
Right, makes sense.
And last but not least, we have the electric bass guitar.
The backbone of any rock band.
That's it.
Holding down the low end, making you want to move.
Couldn't do it without them.
So from classical to screaming electrics, the guitar world is pretty diverse.
It really is.
It's amazing how one instrument can do so much.
It's pretty incredible.
Now let's dive into how these things are actually made.
All right, let's get into the construction.
Yeah, because it's more than just wood and strings, right?
Right, yeah. There's a lot that goes into making a guitar.
So where do we start?
Well, let's begin at the top with the headstock.
The headstock.
Yeah, that iconic part of the guitar usually has the brand logo on it, like a signature.
Right.
And it's also where you find the tuning pegs.
The tuning pegs, those little knobs you turn to tune the strings?
Yep, those are called tuning machines.
Tuning machines, okay.
Essential for keeping your guitar in tune. Without them, you'd be playing some pretty wonky music.
I can imagine.
And right below the headstock, you've got the nut.
The nut.
Yeah, that little strip that guides the strings onto the fretboard.
Oh, okay, I see.
It might seem small, but it's crucial.
How so?
Well, it makes sure the strings are spaced correctly and at the right height,
Okay.
which affects the intonation and prevents buzzing. It's like the gatekeeper to the fretboard.
Interesting.
And then we come to the neck itself.
The neck.
It's like the heart of the guitar.
Yeah, I always feel like that's where all the action happens.
It is, yeah.
All those notes and chords.
That's where you fret them, yeah. The neck has to be strong to withstand the tension of the strings.
Right, because those strings are always pulling on it.
Exactly.
And I know there are tons of different woods and shapes and ways to build a neck.
Oh, yeah. Tons of variations.
So what are some of the things that affect how a neck feels and sounds?
Well, the wood itself has a big impact on the tone and the sustain of the notes
Okay.
and the shape of the neck. That determines how comfortable it is to play.
Right.
Some people like thicker necks, some like thinner necks.
Yeah.
Some like them rounder, some like them flatter. It's all about finding what feels good to you.
It's like the ergonomics of the guitar.
Exactly.
And there's the way the neck is attached to the body, right?
Right.
Some are glued, some are bolted on. Does that make a difference?
It can, yeah.
How so?
Well, a glued neck is often associated with better sustain and resonance,
Yeah.
while a bolted neck is a bit more flexible when it comes to repairs or adjustments.
Interesting.
And then there's the neck through body construction.
Neck through body.
Yeah, where the neck runs the entire length of the guitar.
Ooh.
It's a beast, usually found on high-end instruments.
Gotcha. So a lot of variations in neck construction.
Definitely.
Okay, before we move on, we've got to talk about the frets.
Ah, yes, the fret.
Those middle strips embedded in the fretboard.
Right.
These seem pretty important for, playing the right notes.
They're essential.
Yeah.
They divide the fretboard into precise intervals so you can play all those different notes and chords.
Okay.
And they're placed very strategically based on a mathematical formula.
Oh, wow.
It determines the scale length and the spacing of the notes.
So it's like math meets music.
It is, yeah.
I always knew there was a reason I struggled with both.
Uh-huh.
So those frets, they come in different sizes too, right?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
I've heard of jumbo frets. What are those?
Jumbo frets are taller and wider,
Okay.
which makes it easier to bend the strings and create vibrato.
Gotcha.
And smaller frets, they allow for lower action, which can be great for fast playing.
So it depends on your style.
Exactly.
Okay. And then there's that mysterious metal rod inside the neck, the truss rod.
Ah, the truss rod.
What does that do?
It's like the backbone of the neck.
Okay.
It provides support and counteracts the tension of the strings. It's adjustable.
So you can, fine tune it.
Yeah, you can adjust the neck's curvature and
Yeah.
make sure it stays straight.
Gotcha.
It's like a chiropractor for your guitar.
Perfect analogy.
And then, of course, you have all those decorative touches.
Yeah, the inlays.
The inlays, exactly.
Those could be so cool.
They can be, yeah, anything from simple dots to elaborate designs.
Yeah, I've seen some crazy ones like dragons and skulls and stuff.
Yeah, they can get pretty wild.
But those dots on the fretboard, those aren't just decorative, right?
No, they actually serve as visual markers.
Yeah, okay.
They help you find your way around, especially when you're first learning to play.
That makes sense.
And now we've reached the body of the guitar.
The body, the part that gives the guitar its shape.
And for acoustic guitars, it's the resonating chamber.
Right, so the body affects the sound.
Big time.
And I know the type of wood used for the body is a big deal, too.
Oh, yeah, huge.
I've heard that different woods can make a guitar sound completely different.
Absolutely. It's like choosing the right spaces for your sonic recipe.
Like that.
So, for example, spruce is a popular choice for the soundboard, the top of the guitar,
Okay.
known for its bright, clear tone and its ability to project sound.
And what about mahogany?
Mahogany is often used for the back and sides.
Okay.
It tends to produce a warmer, richer sound.
So you can kind of mix and match to get the sound you want.
You can, yeah. There are lots of combinations.
Bro.
And then there are the internal braces.
Braces.
Yeah, those wooden supports inside the guitar.
What do those do?
Well, they reinforce the top of the guitar, and they also help shape the sound.
How so?
Different bracing patterns can affect how the top vibrates
Okay.
and how the sound waves are projected.
So it's like the architecture of the guitar's sound.
It is.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now, for electric guitars, the body construction is a bit different.
Right, because they don't need to project sound in the same way.
Exactly. So you can have solid bodies,
Okay.
semi-hollow bodies,
Uh-huh.
even hollow bodies.
So it's like a spectrum
Kind of, yeah.
from pure electric power to a blend of acoustic and electric tones.
That's one way to think about it.
Interesting.
And then you have the bridge.
The bridge.
Yeah, it's that part where the strings are anchored to the body.
Oh, okay.
On an acoustic guitar, it's responsible for transmitting the vibrations from the strings to the body.
So it's crucial for the sound.
It is, yeah.
And what about on electric guitars?
On electrics, the bridge holds the strings in place
Okay.
and often houses the saddles. Yeah, those little adjustable pieces that affect the intonation.
Intonation.
Yeah, making sure each string plays in tune all the way up the neck.
Oh, right.
If your intonation is off, your chords will sound out of tune, even if your open strings are perfectly in tune.
So it's really important.
It is, yeah.
And the saddle itself, that little piece that supports the strings on the bridge, does that affect the sound too?
Absolutely. The saddle material can have a subtle but noticeable impact on the tone.
Okay.
On acoustic guitars, saddles are often made of bone.
Bone.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or plastic or synthetic materials. Each material has its own tonal characteristics.
So it's another thing that guitar makers can tweak to get the sound they're looking for.
Exactly. It's all about the details.
And what about the pickguard?
Ah, the pickguard.
I always thought that was just for looks.
Well, it does add to the aesthetics,
Yeah.
but it also has a practical purpose.
Real.
It protects the finish of the guitar from scratches.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for players who like to strum really hard.
Makes sense.
It's like armor for the guitar.
Like that.
All right, now let's talk about the heart of it all.
The heart.
The strings.
Ah, the strings.
They're the ones that actually make the sound.
Right, when they vibrate.
Exactly.
And there's so many different types of strings.
Oh, yeah. Tons.
Like I know classical guitars use nylon strings, while steel string acoustics and electrics use, well, steel strings.
Right.
But there are variations within those categories too, right?
Absolutely. There are a lot of factors that go into choosing the right strings.
Like what?
Well, string gauge, or thickness, that affects the tension and the feel,
Okay.
and also the tone.
I see.
Lighter gauge strings are easier to bend, create vibrato,
Right.
while heavier gauge strings have a fuller, more powerful sound.
So it's all about finding the right balance.
It is, yeah.
And then what about the windings on the strings?
The windings.
Yeah, like some are wound with nickel, others with bronze, even silk.
Right. Those windings also affect the tone. Nickel wound strings are known for their bright, balanced tone, while bronze wound strings have a warmer, more mellow sound.
And what about silk?
Silk and steel strings are popular for fingerstyle guitarists because of their smooth feel and mellow tone.
So it's like choosing the right shoes for your guitar.
I like that.
You got to find the perfect fit.
Exactly.
And for electric guitars and basses, there are the pickups.
The pickups, yeah.
We talked about them before.
We did.
But just to recap, Those are the things that capture the string vibrations
Yeah.
and turn them into electrical signals.
Exactly. They're like the ears of the electric guitar.
Right, listening in on those vibrations.
That's a great way to think about it.
And we talked about single coils and humbuckers, but there are other types too, right?
Oh, yeah. Tons of different pickups, each with its own unique voice.
Like what?
Well, you've got P90s,
Okay.
mini humbuckers, active pickups, even piezoelectric pickups, which can capture the acoustic qualities of the instrument.
So it's a whole world of pickups out there.
It really is.
And then you've got all those onboard electronics on electric guitars.
Yeah, like volume and tone knobs, pickup selectors.
Right.
Some even have built-in effects.
It's like having a sound studio built right into the guitar.
It is, yeah. You can shape your sound in so many ways.
Very cool.
And it's amazing how much technology is packed into these instruments these days.
It really is.
You can do so much without even needing external effects pedals.
All right. I think we've covered a lot of ground on the physical aspects of the guitar.
We have, yeah.
Now let's talk about tuning.
Okay, tuning.
Because a guitar is only as good as its tuning, right?
Absolutely. It's the foundation for everything.
And I know the most common tuning is standard tuning.
EAGB.
Right, like the alphabet of guitar playing.
Exactly. It's incredibly versatile.
You can play pretty much anything with it.
Yeah, most music is written in standard tuning.
But I know there are all sorts of other tunings out there.
Oh, yeah, tons.
Like alternative tunings.
Alternative tunings, right?
What are those all about?
Well, standard tuning is like our home base.
Okay.
But alternative tunings, those are like venturing out into new sonic landscapes.
Interesting.
Each tuning has its own unique possibilities, its own challenges.
So it's like expanding the vocabulary of the guitar.
Exactly.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more about these alternative tunings.
Well, one popular category is open tunings.
Open tunings.
Yeah, and an open tuning, when you strum the strings open, they form a chord.
So you get a full chord sound without even pressing any frets.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. What kind of music uses open tunings?
They're really popular in blues and folk music.
Okay.
And they make it easier to play slide guitar.
Slide guitar, yeah.
Because you can just slide across the strings and get a full chord sound without having to fret anything.
I see. So it's like built-in chords.
Kinda, yeah.
I've always loved the sound of slide guitar.
It's a cool sound.
Very expressive.
Yeah, very.
What other alternative tunings are there?
Well, there are regular tunings.
Regular tuning?
Yeah, where the intervals between the strings are consistent.
I don't think I've heard of that.
It makes it easier to move chord shapes up and down the neck.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a more symmetrical fretboard, popular with jazz guitarists.
Makes sense, yeah.
Because it opens up a lot of harmonic possibilities.
Okay, and what about drop tunings?
Drop tunings.
Yeah, I've heard that term a lot, especially with rock and metal.
Yeah, drop tunings are exactly what they sound like.
Okay.
You drop the tuning of one or more strings.
Okay.
Usually by a whole step.
So like you tune them lower.
Yeah, lower.
Okay.
The most common is drop D.
Drop D, okay.
Where you lower the low E string down to a D.
Makes sense.
It creates a heavier, darker sound.
So that's why metal bands use it.
Exactly. Perfect for those heavy riffs and power chords.
Right, right.
And it also makes it easier to play certain riffs.
How so?
Well, you can use fewer fingers and still get a full, heavy sound.
I see. So it's like a shortcut. Kind of, yeah.
But it still sounds heavy.
Yeah, still heavy.
Awesome.
And then there's scordatura.
Scordatura, that sounds fancy.
It's a fancy word, yeah.
What is it?
It's basically any alternate tuning that's used in classical or Renaissance music.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it's done to create a specific effect.
Like what?
A particular tone or texture, or to make certain pieces easier to play.
Gotcha.
Especially on older instruments that might have had different tuning systems.
Makes sense. So I've got open tunings, regular tunings, drop tunings, and scordatura.
That covers the main ones, yeah.
Wow, tuning is a lot more complex than I thought.
It is, yeah.
It's not just about getting the notes right, it's about shaping the sound of the guitar.
Exactly. It's another dimension of expression.
Okay, so we've covered types of guitars, construction, tuning, but what about all those cool accessories?
Oh, the accessories?
Capos, slides, picks, straps.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
It's like adding spices to your guitar sound, right?
I like that analogy. You can create all sorts of new textures and effects.
Absolutely.
But let's start with the capo.
Capo, okay.
I know it's basically a clamp you put on the fretboard.
Right.
But how does it work and why would you use one?
Well, a capo acts as a movable nut.
A movable nut?
Yeah, so it raises the pitch of all the strings by a set amount.
Oh, okay.
So you can change the key of a song without changing your finger positions.
So if I want to play a song in the key of G,
Yeah.
but I only know the chords in C,
Right.
I could just put a copper on it, it'll be in G.
Exactly.
That's pretty handy.
It is, yeah.
Especially for singers who need to adjust the key to fit their vocal range.
Right.
I've also heard some people say capos are like cheating.
Haha. Yeah, there's a bit of a stigma.
Is there any truth to that?
Not really. Like any tool, it can be used effectively or ineffectively.
Right.
It's not about cheating, it's about finding the sound you want.
And sometimes a capo is the best way to get that sound.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm convinced capos are cool.
They are, yeah.
What about slides?
Slides, those are fun.
Yeah, they can make a guitar sound completely different.
They can.
So what are they exactly?
Well, they're those smooth, hard objects, usually made of metal or glass.
Yeah, I've seen both.
You slide them across the strings
Right.
to create that, like, singing or crying sound.
It's a very distinctive sound.
It is, yeah.
And very evocative,
Yeah.
essential for blues and country, but I've heard them in other genres too.
Oh, yeah, you can use them in rock, folk, even classical music.
Wow, they're pretty versatile.
They are, yeah.
Is there a difference between a glass slide and a metal slide?
There is a difference in tone.
Okay.
Glass slides tend to be warmer, smoother,
Uh-huh.
and metal slides are brighter, more cutting.
Gotcha. So it depends on the sound you're going for.
Exactly. And personal preference, too.
I've even seen people use, like, beer bottles as slides.
Uh-huh. Yeah, anything that works.
It's all about experimenting.
It is.
Okay, what about picks?
Picks. Yeah, those little things you hold in your hand to strum or pick the strings.
Right. They might seem small, but they make a big difference.
I know, I have a whole collection of them.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I do too.
Always looking for the perfect pick.
It's a never-ending quest.
So what are some things to consider when choosing a pick?
Well, thickness is a big one.
Okay.
Thicker picks give you more attack.
Attack.
Yeah, like a stronger, more pronounced sound.
Okay,
Good for lid lines and single notes.
I see.
Thinner picks are more flexible, better for strumming chords.
Gotcha.
And then the shape and material also affect the tone and feel.
So it's another one of those things where you just got to experiment.
Yeah, try out different picks and see what you like.
And don't be afraid to mix it up.
Exactly.
Different picks for different guitars, different styles.
For sure.
Okay, and lastly, the guitar strap.
The strat.
Might not affect the sound directly,
True.
but you need one if you want to stand up and play.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're stuck sitting down.
Not very rock and roll. Haha, not at all.
A good strap will distribute the weight of the guitar evenly,
Okay.
make it comfortable to play for long periods.
Makes sense.
And they can be pretty stylish, too.
Yeah, I've seen some wild ones.
Yeah, you can express yourself with your strap.
All right, so we've talked about all the different parts of the guitar,
Mhm.
the accessories, the tuning.
Yeah,
But what really brings a guitar to life is the way it's played.
absolutely. A guitar is just wood and metal until someone picks it up and makes it sing.
And there's so many different playing styles and techniques.
Oh, yeah. Tons.
It's mind-boggling.
It is, yeah.
From delicate finger picking to aggressive strumming to blazing guitar solos.
Each genre has its own approach to the guitar,
Right.
and each guitarist brings their own individual style.
It's what makes guitar music so diverse and exciting.
Absolutely.
One thing that's always fascinated me is how guitarists use different techniques to create different sounds.
Yeah, like bending, for example.
It's-
Yeah, where you push or pull the string.
To raise or lower the pitch
Ah, I see.
creates those expressive bluesy notes.
That's like the guitar is crying
exactly.
or wailing.
Yeah,
Very emotional.
very.
And what about hammer-ons and pull-offs?
Hammer-ons and pull-offs, those are techniques where you use your fretting hand to create notes without picking the string.
So you're not actually picking the string.
Not for those notes, no.
Wow, how's that work?
You basically use the momentum of your fingers
Okay,
to hammer the string onto the fretboard or pull it off.
I see.
It allows for very fast and fluid playing.
So that's how they do those super fast
It's
solos.
just part of it, yeah.
And riffs.
Yeah, it's used in a lot of different styles.
And what about harmonics?
Harmonics, those are the ethereal bell-like tones.
Yeah.
You create them by lightly touching the string at specific points
Okay.
while plucking the string.
So it's like a special touch.
It is, yeah.
And it makes that ringing sound.
Exactly.
It's almost magical.
It is kind of magical.
Okay, and we can't forget about effects pedals.
Ah, yes, effects.
The whole world of sonic possibilities there.
They can really change your sound.
What do they do exactly?
Well, they manipulate the sound of your guitar in different ways.
Okay.
You can add distortion,
Yeah.
fuzz, overdrive, reverb, delay, chorus, phasing, flanging.
It's like a whole glossary of sound effects.
Uh-huh. It is.
And each one creates a different effect.
Yeah, each one has its own unique sound.
So you can use them to create all sorts of crazy sounds.
You can, yeah, anything from a warm, fuzzy tone to a swirling psychedelic soundscape.
It's like having a sonic playground at your feet.
Exactly.
And new pedals are being created all the time.
Oh, yeah. The world of effects is constantly evolving.
It's an exciting time to be a guitarist.
It is.
Speaking of history, I'm curious to know how the guitar has evolved alongside different genres of music.
Oh, that's a great question.
We've talked about how certain types of guitars are associated with certain genres, but I'm interested in the bigger picture, the historical context.
Right.
So where do we start? What's the origin story of the guitar?
Well, as we mentioned before, guitar-like instruments have been around for thousands of years.
Yeah, like in ancient civilizations.
Yeah,
But the guitar as we know it today, when did that really start to take shape?
it really started to come together in Europe during the Middle Ages and Renaissance.
Oh, wow. So we're going back a while.
We are, yeah.
And what kind of instruments were they playing back then?
Well, lutes were popular.
Okay.
And other early stringed instruments.
Like the ancestors of the modern guitar.
Exactly. They were smaller and had fewer strings than guitars today.
Uh-huh.
But they laid the groundwork for what would come later.
So how did the guitar evolve from there?
Well, over the centuries, the guitar gradually grew in size and complexity.
Nice.
The number of strings increased and the body shape evolved.
To create a louder sound.
Yeah, a louder, richer sound.
Thanks.
And different regions of Europe developed their own unique guitar traditions.
Like different styles of playing.
Yeah, different styles, different types of guitars.
Interesting.
Spain, in particular, played a key role in the development of the guitar.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Spanish guitar, with its rounded body and nylon strings, that's the ancestor of the modern classical guitar.
So the classical guitar has Spanish roots.
It does, yeah.
Interesting.
And flamenco music, that passionate, fiery music.
Yeah, I love flamenco.
It also emerged from Spain.
Oh, wow. Spain was a hotbed of guitar innovation.
It was, yeah.
So the guitar was already pretty established in Europe by the time it came to the Americas.
It was, yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, the guitar was brought over by European colonists.
In the 16th and 17th centuries.
Around that time.
And it quickly caught on.
Oh, yeah. It took root in the Americas and adapted to new musical styles and cultural influences.
I bet that's where things get really interesting.
It does, yeah. The guitar played a huge role in the development of American music.
Like what?
Well, the folk music of the Appalachian Mountains.
Okay.
The blues of the Mississippi Delta.
The blues.
The country music of the American West.
It's amazing how the guitar found its way into so many different genres.
It is, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the blues.
The blues, all right.
Because the guitar is essential to blues music, right?
It is, yeah.
It's like the heart and soul of the blues.
For sure.
Why do you think that is?
Well, the blues is all about expressing raw emotion.
Yeah, it's very raw, very powerful.
And the guitar is perfect for that.
How so?
Well, it can bend notes,
Right.
create slides, produce those soulful wailing tones.
Yeah, it's like the guitar is singing the blues.
It is, yeah.
Conveying all that pain and longing.
Exactly.
And hope, too.
Yeah, definitely hope.
And the blues had a huge impact on rock and roll, right?
Oh, massive.
Rock and roll basically grew out of the blues.
Yeah, a lot of the same rhythms, harmonies, guitar techniques.
But with a new energy.
A new energy, yeah, more amplified.
Amplified. And that's where the electric guitar comes in.
Exactly. The electric guitar took rock and roll to a whole new level.
And rock and roll, in turn, influenced countless other genres.
It did, yeah. It's like this chain reaction of musical evolution.
It's amazing to think about how far the guitar has come.
From those early European instruments to the global phenomenon it is today.
It's truly a universal instrument.
I think so, yeah.
It's everywhere.
It speaks to everyone.
So what do you think is the secret to the guitar's enduring popularity?
Well, I think it's versatility.
Versatility.
It can be played in so many different ways,
Yeah.
and it can express such a wide range of emotions.
Right, from soft and gentle to loud and aggressive.
Exactly.
And it's relatively easy to learn the basics.
Yeah, you can pick up a guitar and start strumming chords pretty quickly.
But it also takes a lifetime to master.
That's the beauty of it. There's always something new to learn.
Yeah, there's always room for growth. So it's an instrument that can grow with you,
It can.
no matter what your skill level is.
Exactly.
I think that's a big part of its appeal.
I agree.
Okay, so we've talked about the history of the guitar, its evolution.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not forget about its cultural impact.
Ah, yes, the cultural impact.
The guitar has played such a central role in music history.
It has.
But it's also had a profound influence on society as a whole.
You're right. It's become more than just a musical instrument.
Yeah, it's a cultural icon.
A symbol of rebellion, creativity, self-expression.
Exactly.
Think about all the iconic guitarists who have become cultural icons themselves.
Oh, yeah, like Jimi Hendrix.
Jimi Hendrix.
Jimmy Page, Eric Clapton, B.B. King.
So many legends.
They've inspired generations of musicians and music lovers.
They have.
And their music still resonates today.
Absolutely.
It's like the guitar has a way of connecting with people on a deep emotional level.
It does, yeah.
It's a powerful force.
Powerful.
And it's not just about the famous guitarists.
Right.
The guitar has empowered countless people around the world to express themselves.
Yeah, to find their voice through music.
To connect with others.
To find joy and solace in playing.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
All right. I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about guitars.
I think so, yeah.
At least for one deep dive.
It's been a great conversation.
I have. I've learned a lot.
Me too.
So what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this deep dive?
I hope they've gained a new appreciation for the guitar.
Okay.
For its history, its versatility, its power.
It's magic.
Yeah, it's magic.
Maybe they'll be inspired to pick up a guitar and start playing.
I hope so.
Or dust off that old guitar that's been sitting in the closet.
Yeah, give it another try.
And for those who are already guitarists, I hope we've given them a new perspective on their instrument.
Yeah, a new appreciation for all the things it can do.
Because the guitar is a truly remarkable instrument.
It is.
A timeless treasure.
For sure.
And that's our deep dive into the world of guitars.
Thanks for joining us.
Until next time, keep those strings ringing. You know, we've talked a lot about the nuts and bolts of guitars.
Yeah.
The history, the different types, how they're made. But I think what really draws people in is the sound, the music itself.
Absolutely.
It's like this magical alchemy.
Yeah.
You take wood, metal, human touch, and you get something truly special.
You do.
And there's so many ways to play a guitar.
Oh, so many.
Finger picking, strumming, flat picking, slide playing, tapping. It's like each technique unlocks a different voice.
It's true.
A different personality.
Each one brings its own flavor to the music.
Yeah.
Finger picking can be so delicate and intricate.
Right.
While strumming can be powerful, rhythmic.
And flat picking, that's all about precision.
Yeah, articulating those individual notes.
And in slide playing, that gives you those smooth, vocal-like bends.
Too expressive.
And then there are all those crazy techniques that guitarists have come up with over the years to create all sorts of unique sounds.
Like bending, for example.
Bending, yeah, that's a classic.
Such a simple concept, but so expressive.
It really is.
You can manipulate the pitch of a note.
Yeah.
Add vibrato, create those bluesy cries and wails.
It's like the guitar is singing.
It is, yeah.
With its own voice.
Like a human voice.
And then there are hammer-ons and pull-offs.
Oh, yeah. Those are essential for fast playing.
Yeah, they allow you to play those lightning-fast licks without having to pick every note.
Exactly. You use your fretting hand to hammer the string onto the fretboard or pull it off.
And it creates this really smooth, fluid sound.
It does, yeah.
It's like your fingers are dancing on the fretboard.
They are, yeah.
Okay, and what about harmonics?
Harmonics. Those are fun.
Yeah, they're like these magical bell-like tones.
Almost otherworldly.
Yeah, how do they even do that?
It's all about physics.
Okay.
You lightly touch the string at a specific point while you pluck it, and it creates a vibration that's a multiple of the string's fundamental frequency.
Whoa, that's getting a little technical for me.
Huh.
But basically, it creates that ringing sound.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
It's like unlocking these hidden notes within the guitar.
Exactly. It's pretty cool.
And then, of course, we have the world of effects pedals.
Effects pedals, a whole other dimension of sound.
They can make a guitar sound like anything.
They really can.
So what are some of the things they can do?
Well, you can add distortion, fuzz, overdrive, reverb, delay, chorus, phasing, flanging, the list goes on.
Yeah, I'm getting lost in all the terminology.
That's a lot.
But basically, they allow you to shape and manipulate your sound in endless ways. They can create a warm, fuzzy tone or a swirling, psychedelic soundscape.
Or anything in between.
It's like having a sonic toolbox at your feet.
It is, yeah. A toolbox full of sonic colors.
And it's constantly expanding.
Oh, yeah. New pedals are coming out all the time.
It's a great time to be a guitarist.
It is so much to explore.
Well, I think we've done it.
We have.
Yeah, I think we've covered just about everything there is to know about guitars.
Wow, that was a deep dive.
It was, and I've learned so much.
Me too.
It's amazing to think about how far the guitar has come from those early instruments to the global phenomenon it is today.
It's touched so many lives.
It really has.
And it continues to inspire.
It does, yeah.
New generations of musicians.
New sounds, new styles.
It's an instrument that will never die.
I don't think so either.
It's too powerful.
Too versatile.
Too connected to the human spirit.
Well said.
It's been a pleasure talking about guitars with you.
Likewise.
And to all our listeners out there.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
We hope you learned something new.
Maybe you're inspired to pick up a guitar.
Or maybe just to listen to some great guitar music.
Whatever it is, keep the music alive.
Keep those strings ringing.
And until next time, keep exploring the world of sound.